All right, everyone. The other day there was a shooting at Joel Osteen's Megachurch down in Lakewood, actually, and the suspect is a real interesting chick. Or dude, I'm not exactly sure the birth gender, actually. It's not entirely clear because I'm seeing conflicting reports. The name of Janice Moreno, who also went by about a half a dozen other pseudonyms, actually. Some male, some female. Straight psycho, obviously. Drags, again, Zier's, I guess, son into the church, begins shooting, gets killed in the process. While dying, says that there's a bomb, and they checked that out. Apparently that wasn't actually factual, which is good. So, you know, that would have been bad. People fleeing from the church, and all of a sudden, you know, one of the cars in the parking lot explodes in a ball of flame. It could have caused a lot more casualties. So the shooter is dead, I guess. And I don't know whether his or her child survived. Then we found this individual has a lengthy rap sheet, had assaulted a public official, had unlawful carrying of a weapon at some point, I think, and a bunch of other charges. He's a straight psychopath, basically. The gun used in the shooting had Free Gaza written on it, so, I mean, the motive is fairly clear. Because Osteen is a Zionist, like most televangelists, and by the way, I am no fan of Joel Osteen. Fucking fraud. Doesn't understand the fucking Bible that he preaches about, so this is no exoneration of Joel Osteen. I just don't think that you should shoot random people because you're pissed off at a church. I'm no fan of churchianity. I'm no fan of megachurches. I like that Phil Collins song about megachurches that he released back in the 80s. I think that it was brilliant, and it's a scathing review of, you know, the sort of, the grifting of some of these people. Hey, you're supposed to be charitable to your fellow man. Jesus basically told you to sell everything that you own and give it to the poor, but have you seen my new Rolex? It's pretty comfy. I don't like these people. I just don't want them to get shot. Anyway, the motive is quite clear. This was an attack upon a church that tends to support Israel in the Israel-Gaza thing. Probably donates actively to Israeli cause. I think literally does. When, therefore, the shooter is quite clearly a far-leftoid, psychopath as well, has been indoctrinated by communism, and has Free Gaza on the AR-15, the motive is fairly straightforward. But the police came out, and they were very, very demure about it. They're like, well, we did research on what pronouns to use for the shooter. Okay, so if somebody commits that kind of crime, do you really need to respect their pronouns? I don't give a shit. He, she, Zier, they. I don't give a fuck what pronouns you use. If you're killing innocent people or trying to kill them, then you're a scumbag. It doesn't matter what the fucking motivation was. The fact that they came out and even made that statement was fucking sickening. Then the liberals, predictably, they started blaming guns. The spooky, spooky AR-15, which I'm getting one of very soon, and I'm very, very fucking happy. Engraved with the Ouroboros. Got it for free. Gonna be the biggest shout out I ever did. But, you know, mine is not gonna be used in a mass shooting incident. Because I'm sane. I'm law-abiding, to the point of paranoia, actually. Look at my tax forms. You're not going to need to audit them. Don't worry, I'm paying tens of thousands of dollars more than I probably would have to if I made a shell corporation or did something that politicians, those rich bitches in D.C. do. And I'm a member of the militia. Like, if I'm deploying my AR, it's most likely in this area going to be on like a rabid animal is staggering across the property, and I'm putting it down to defend the cats or something like that. There was a bear on the property a few years ago. That chonker's probably 300 fucking pounds by now if he's still alive, so, you know, again, I don't know if the AR would even be enough to compensate, but I'll fire a warning shot anyway and try to drive it off because I'd rather not kill it, because bears are cool, you know. I mean, their meat's probably real tasty. I do have a can of it in the other room, but meanwhile, you have psychos like this that lash out for one reason or another. It could be socio-political. There appears to be a mental illness issue involved with this individual too. So we're talking about a psycho. We're not talking about just somebody who was indoctrinated by the far left into committing violence. We're talking about somebody who was nuts. And the thing is, the average person, when they're indoctrinated or sort of pulled into a strong socio-political ideology that's outside of the mainstream, whether it's far right, far left, it doesn't really matter what it happens to be. If they don't have any underlying problems, they might act out, but typically they're not going to go and try to shoot up a megachurch. When you have, though, a mental illness or substance abuse overlap to that, so that inhibition is lowered and the person's literally nuts, then you get a problem. And that appears to be, unfortunately, the case here. So, well, you might not be a fan of Joel Osteen. Again, I am definitely not. But I condemn, of course, the killing of any innocent. Especially, you've got your kid there. Clearly, that's a psycho move. I haven't seen something like that, I think, before in any of these instances. You take your kid to church. Normally, when you're taking your kid to church, you're, singing songs or praying the rosary or getting communion or something like that. It doesn't entail firearms. But, when you're crazy, like literally crazy, and also, apparently there was a messy, divorce and custody case. Probably, again, partially related to the mental illness aspect here. Well, that's a compounding factor. I think we know exactly what the motive was and exactly what happened. A psychopath listened to the Hamas bullshit and went postal. Ta-da! That's it. Hey, police over there. I've solved the case for you, so you can stop filing off the expensive paperwork. Stop the presses. The most obvious motivation is probably the motivation that was at play. It's that easy. We all generally know the motivation of shooters once their identity is released to the public. The first thing that happens is 4chan and Reddit and all these sites scrub through all their social media, which, by the way, I think that there should be a moratorium on the ability of websites to scrub data from people who just committed a major crime for at least some period while the internet sleuths access it. I think that everything should be archived before it's removed. If you want to remove the live page later, that's perfectly fine. So somebody who just killed a bunch of people doesn't... they've got ads on their YouTube channel. You don't want their estate getting money after they're dead. Okay, because they killed people. That's perfectly fine. And you don't want anyone to set up like a warship cult, like that chick that went to YouTube HQ and tried to shoot people and failed miserably. And people were saying she was hot and spreading her videos around. But for a little while afterwards, give the internet sleuth some time, because apparently we're much more efficient than the cops at figuring out the motive. Oh, free Gaza! And it's a transvestite with 6 aliases and a long rap sheet shooting up a church that's associated with very pro-Israel sentiment. No, I can't guess the motive. Just lashing out. Just had a bad day at work and was like, fuck it, and got suicidal or something. No, I don't think that's the motive here. I think it's pretty straightforward. That's about all. Peace out.